Welcome. Happy day. I hope everybody's doing well. JasonFinalExpense.com, where I partner, train, and coach some of the nation's most amazing agents in the industry. Today, for our channel, we've got a very special guest. $117,000 in 18 months as a new agent, owns 5 separate insurance-based companies with $8 million in sales, okay? The owner of 8% Nation, Cody Askins. Welcome, buddy. Thank you for being on the channel. I appreciate you. Without further ado, Cody, we're going to go into what his life looked like as the life of a brand new insurance agent. Okay. He was once brand new, just like everybody. So this is going to be a fun little journey. So Cody, share with us, a little bit of your story. Would love to hear it.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you, buddy. My father's been in the industry 31 years as of April 1st, here in a few weeks. Okay, 31 years. I'm 30. I'll be 31 in July the 9th. So I've been around the industry my entire life, right? Like he got started in the industry 3 months before I was born. And wow. I've been thinking, like I was listening to, I had an interview with Brian Tracy recently, which you saw, right? I also had an interview with Les Brown. I was listening to TD Jakes on YouTube this weekend, because one of our carrier reps actually sent it to me and said, "Hey, I thought of you on this interview." And what I'm getting at is, what I'm learning is, my family was operated, and I grew up with a lot of faith and business talk. Right? And business talk. And so I've never talked about this, but I really believe one of the things that helped me level up as a brand new agent, and like you said, make $117,361.13 in my first 8 months. Right, first 8 months as a new agent. What I learned is I was ready for the business piece because of the way I was raised. Like a lot of people, they're not raised with a family member, parent, etc. as a business owner, right? So maybe it's not in their DNA or their blood, etc. Like it's just not in them, right? You don't know until you get into it. And then 2, Brian Tracy talked about how he really believes that more parents should instill confidence in their kids and make their kids believe they can do anything in life, right? And he's noticed your upbringing has a lot to do with your success later in life. Now, people can reverse it. They can fix it. They can change it. So there's hope for anyone. However, I was very grateful that my parents made me believe as a kid that I could do anything. So now, fast forward when I'm, starting training, etc., and throwing a conference at Nissan Stadium, like I believed I could do anything. And so that's where a lot of that internal personal confidence comes when it comes from me. It's a lot really because of that.
No, that's great. So your parents really instilled, a lot of belief and a lot of like just the foundation. Sounds like they laid the bedrock,
They did. And then fast forward, as a kid, I'm 19. I'm an intern, making cold calls out of a phone book. I'm thinking about becoming an agent, but I'm also in college playing basketball, full-time student athlete. I'm taking 21 credit hours some semesters. Okay. I put that out there, and when somebody on LinkedIn said, "There's no way you did 21 credit hours in a semester." Well, you can check the transcripts or whatever the freak they call it at college. Okay. 21 credit hours some semesters. Right. And I got done early, which was good. But what I did was I decided to become an agent. Now I'm 20 years old. I'm in college playing basketball. I go to a recruiting meeting and with a manager, and he has all of us stand up. So we stand up, and this is a potential recruiting meeting. I'm thinking about joining the industry. I've already committed, really. And he says, "Take a look around." Right. So we start looking around, sizing each other up. Okay. He says, "Now everyone sit down, but that person." And he left one person standing. And what he was illustrating is that maybe one of you will make it. What I didn't realize at the time is 92% of insurance agents fail in their first 3 years. What I decided in that moment, and what a lot of agents watching your channel are going to have to do, man, they're going to have to make a decision that if there's going to be a 1, I'm going to be the one, right? Like Jason embodies it every day. The dude's a freaking hustler. Like he knows if there's going to be a 1, Jason's going to be the one. Like I would not want to bet against you. Okay. Cause you'll prove everybody wrong. I believe it. Right.
Absolutely. We work hard.
That's it, dude. I just feel it, man. Right. So Then in that moment, I decided, I wrote down a goal. I said, I will earn, because I write down my goals every morning. Okay, 3, 8, 21 at the moment this interview is coming out right now. I wrote those down this morning. But I wrote down back then when I was 20, I will earn $100,000 my first year in the insurance industry at 20 years old. I dated it, I signed it, and I hung it up in the wall of my cubicle. And then every day I went out to make that a reality by cold calling and cold door knocking with 0 leads on a 35% commission level, selling guaranteed issue whole life.
Ouch, brother. Been there. Been there. That hurts.
And getting harder than that, doesn't it, man? It's like, that's tough, man. That's difficult. But there's hope for everyone. And I truly believe everybody that's watching your stuff, man, I believe everyone can do 6 figures. There's a lot of people that don't believe that, man. But I believe, and I know that it starts with them, right? If it's meant to be, it's up to me. That's what I know and believe, right? If for everything to change, my income to change, amount of people I help, my life to change, I've got to change. And one of the biggest reasons why agents don't make 6 figures is they don't believe they can. I didn't just believe I was going to. I told myself, and I dated it, and I signed it, and I wrote it down every single day. You will earn 6 figures. Like, you tell yourself enough, I am going to do something, you'll eventually do it.
You've got to get your mind right. Like I always talk about, get your mind right before you get your money right. I mean, you won't. Like, if your mind is off, it sounds like you had it instilled from great parents, right? Great role models. You've got good people around you that are just giving you great advice and helping you like skill up and scale up to a whole different level. I mean, to go from, college to accomplishing what you did at those comp levels, I know that pain. I mean, I had over $201,000 at 45% comp and 37% comp. It's like, oof, right? It's like, but when you come from a place like you've come from, it makes you appreciate everything. You appreciate the struggle. It's not easy. I mean, you doing what you've accomplished as an insurance agent, I'm guessing nothing was handed to you. I'm just guessing. Am I right here?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, I had I was grateful, blessed, have an amazing childhood. As a child, there was a lot of things that were given to me, right? But as an adult, as a new salesperson at 19, 20 years old, my father, he was going to do anything he could to help me, but he was never going to give me anything, right? Like, a lot of people need a hand out instead of a hand up, right? Dude, for my father, it was like, dude, I'll give you a hand up, but not a hand out. Like, I won't do everything for you. You've got to go figure it out on your own. And he believed me before I did, because he's like, dude, I want you to go sell life insurance. I don't want you messing with Medicare. You're not going to get, you got to figure out how you're going to get there, and you will make $100,000 this year. And people need people like them in their life, like you are with your agents and your team. They need people that believe in them more than that. That's where a lot of people go wrong, man, is that they need people around them that believe in them more than they believe in themselves.
That's awesome. I hope our viewers are taking notes. If you aren't, get your pen and paper out. Write this stuff down. It is gold, you guys. Get your goals down. Have someone that believes in you. Make sure that you're taking opportunity right. Okay. Follow what he's dropping here. It is important. Okay. I always say it's like, pay attention, but if you're not really paying attention, okay, it's in one ear and out the other, and you've missed a nugget. So when you were at that like pivotal moment for you, right? When you just started, you're grinding in, you're going for your goals, they're written down. And I hope you have that piece of paper like framed somewhere, by the way, back in college. That would be awesome. Put that in your office. That'd be legit.
But it's back in my old tubs with all my old crap, but I need to find that. That'd be sick.
You got to plaque that thing. You got to do it. You earned it. That's in my opinion, which is a pivotal moment. I mean, that's huge. Like, frame that sucker. That's something to be proud of. But what was that like pivotal moment for you when you went from like just little bubbles to boiling with success as an insurance agent? Was there a pivotal moment for you, or something that you would say like changed so that you went from like just hot water to boiling? At what point was it? Would you mind sharing for the audience? Was there any one point that like just engaged you to a whole different level?
There was one, as your buddy Dave DeFord says, a inflection point. There was one inflection point back in the day that when I was 20. I made $9,000, $9,100, whatever it was, back in January of that year, right? And I went to the dealership and tried to buy a Dodge Challenger SRT8 back then for $42,000. Okay, I'm 20. I'm in college. I'm playing basketball. I don't really need a Dodge Challenger, but I'm a car guy. Well, what's funny is my parents were out of town, and I haven't told this story very rarely ever. Okay, and my parents are out of town in Vegas on a company trip. The guy was salesperson and the finance manager and the sales manager were giving me a hard time about being able to afford a $42,000 car. And I'm like, guys, I made $9,000 last month. I'm like, that's probably more than you made. Is that enough? They're like, if you can prove it. I'm like, well, yeah, I got a pay stub online. I'll just print it off and you can have it. They're like, if you can show us that, we'll sell you the car. I said, okay. And I did. And my parents got wind that I bought it. And they're like, no, Cody would never buy something like that at that age without talking to us first. They were shocked. They're like, what the heck's going on here? Like, there's no chance. I'm glad my dad didn't bet anything, put anything on the line because he'd have lost, because I did.
Right.
And so they got back and they were all annoyed that I'm spending $42,000 on a car. It was really nice silver Dodge Challenger SRT8. Crazy nice. It was like this was back in 2011, 2012, and it was probably like an 08 or something, 09 or something like that, right? And because I think they first came out in like 08. And I told them, I said, here's what I'll do. Okay, because this is a lesson for everybody listening, by the way. I said, if I don't pay it off for the next 6 months, I'll sell it. So I bust my freaking tail. I buy it that February after I made the $9,000. And then in August, I go to Great Southern Bank in Springfield, Missouri, and I hand them like a $36,000 check to pay it off.
Where there's risk, there is great reward. You've got to have faith, though, right? The fact that you said, okay, so that for you is a pivotal moment where you're like, I'm going to take a leap. I'm going to get something and I'm going to go pay for it. Now you got the dog hunting you, right?
Yeah. That's what Coach Burke calls it, prey drive, PREY, like prey, not prey. And
right.
What I really love is a lot of people they're in this moment where they need someone to activate them. They need someone to wake them the freak up. They need someone to challenge them. They need to stop being complacent. They need to get to the next level, but they don't know how. And they're in this moment where it's like, dude, I need more, but I don't know how to get there. And a lot of times doing something like I've done time and time again will wake someone up. Like if your viewers, if your audience are asleep, if they're complacent, if they feel like they're living without a freaking pulse, like they need someone or something to wake them up. Okay. So I'll challenge them, like spend some time with me. I will make them think bigger than they've ever thought and wake them the freak out. Spend a large amount of money that scares you to death. And I guarantee you that will wake you the freak up. Now that's not popular opinion, but that's what I do when I need a jolt. I need something like wake me up and jack me up. I'll go give someone 25 grand or 50 grand, or like find somebody that knows something that I don't know, and then pay them to know what they know, because I'm like, dude, I will do whatever it takes. Right. And there's some people, they'll say they'll do whatever it takes, but when it comes time to write the check, to put in the hours, to pick up the phone, they won't.
Right. Absolutely. That's good words. I mean, motivation is fleeting, right? And it sounds like if you condense everything there, it's like just stinking do, right? Just do, right? Yep. Quit thinking about it. Just take the jump, right? There's so many people, I think, and I think you've probably experienced this as well, and even your business dealings, a lot of people will say they want something and they won't jump. Like they'll sit on the bridge their whole career and never take the leap. They'll never actually implement. And it's like motivation is fleeting. But when you take that risk and say, okay, now I'm going to do it like what you did. I mean, I can see how that can definitely spool out, where you're at now. I mean, you've got to definitely unwind.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. And now I'm to the point where I don't, like, for example, we had over 10,000 register for the virtual. We had over 5,000 log into the Zoom. We had over 10,000 watch if you include YouTube, Facebook, and Zoom on the 8% virtual conference. which is pretty big numbers, most people would say. Well, what I'm learning about me is it's more about the promoter in me is excited about the journey and not really the destination. Like when we get there and I'm like, man, could I have done better? Could I have gotten more? How the freak do we go bigger and better next time? Most people, a lot of people would maybe get complacent, right? Or get satisfied or level off. But I'm like, dude, it ain't about the money for me. Like if it was about the money, our total company revenue, I never said this on video yet. Okay. Our total company revenue from all the companies I'm involved in did $1 million in sales in January of 2021. $1 million in a month this year. If it was about the money, I would stop freaking working, right? But it isn't, because I want to leave a legacy on the industry. I want to change millions of lives, and I want to push like no one else pushes. So people watching, like I want to ask them the question, what are you pushing for? Where are you going? What do you want to happen? Because I believe you can have anything in life, but first you got to decide to go get it, right? You got to figure out what the target is. Then you got to decide to go get it. And then you got to do what Jason does, which is freaking wake up and hunt and do whatever it takes to get there. And then if you're like me, you'll not be satisfied once you get there, and you'll want more. Not because you need more, not because you're selfish, but because you know you got another gear in you and you want to find it.
And that's powerful. I mean, I think this probably holds true for you as well. Isn't the sweetest carrot the one that's like just a hair out of reach? It's like, oh, right? You just want to go. It's like, let's giddy up, right? It's like, just makes you excited. It makes you alive. And I think that everything that you've, as you accomplish where you're talking, listen, hey, if I want to take myself to the next level for the audience, get it done, take the risk, dump it. So now you've got something even greater that you can strive for. I mean, it's solid. You've got to have that carrot out. You got to be chasing something. You got to be ready and motivating yourself before you motivate your motives, right? And then get after your motives with high action. But follow what Cody's saying here, where it's like, you've got to be in a place where you're going to succeed. There's no plan B or C. I mean, did you ever have a time in your insurance career where you had any self-doubt? Is that a possibility? I mean, because I know most agents struggle with it. I know you as a brand new agent, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you've been asked this. I'm sure you have. Have you ever had any like temporary times where motivation or your mind was fleeting? Because most agents have it.
Every day. It still happens today. Like most people would believe there's no way that you doubt yourself today. And the thing is, I write down my goals every morning. I write down that I want to have 10,000 agents at our 8% Nation conference at some point in the future. Like I write that down every single day. 10,000 agents have attended our 8% Nation conference, right? Well, every time I write it, I'm in like this mood where, you know what, I'm freaking doing it. I'll do whatever it takes. And then 30 minutes later, I'm like, is that even possible? Like doubt starts creeping in, right? Well, that's where having massive flipping goals that keep you focused. So where a lot of times the people get complacent or they don't hit their goals, not because they're too big, because they're too small. Like they do not challenge them. Like when we did a Texas training tour and we went to Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, I released it 13 days before. And I told our team, we're going to get 1,000 agents to register for 4 days with me in local cities, by the way, right? Why did I choose such a massive number? Because I believe in setting crazy, insane short-term targets that scare me to death, that put me outside my comfort zone, there's fear associated with that. And then I believe in going out and telling everyone, right? So for virtual, I'm like, dude, we are getting 10,000. Now I'm like, what if I said we were going to get 100,000? I mean, because what happens is it wakes you up. It forces you to be more creative version of you. Like if I'm Jason, man, I'm like, dude, how do I sell 100 life insurance policies in a month? And Jason could pull it off if he hasn't yet, by the way. Why? Because the dude's a freak, man. You can tell the dude is highly skilled. He works his butt off and he's really good at building rapport with seniors. Like I can feel it through the Zoom right now. Okay. So if you're out there watching, like, what are your skills? What can you leverage that you are really good at to start to really change the game in your life? But a lot of times we set our targets and our goals too small And then we get disinterested, unmotivated, and they actually kill our goal because they're too small and they don't challenge us enough.
Now you got to aim the big ones. That's so gold. I mean, you've got to have those big goals. And then to accomplish the goals, a lot of times you need people that are better than who you are, right? It's who you want to be and what you will become by following somebody that's stronger than you. It's like I always say in a couple of my videos, I'm like, if you want to get strong, you got to break yourself down. You've got to have somebody that's going to spot you and says, no big deal. You're going to put 300 pounds on the bench. Let's go. Go ahead and do it. I won't let you get hurt. Right. And it's like, I'm not a 300-pound bench guy. I wish I could say I was. Hopefully you are, Cody. I mean, hopefully you got it down. I don't. Okay. I'd be like squashed, right? Like roadkill. But it's just, if you're going to do it, you got to have somebody that keeps you safe. And I think it's valuable. You know, you're around good people. You're around people that are industry experts that I'm guessing will help pour into you. And you've probably benefited a lot from people that are smarter. I know I've benefited from a lot of folks. I've benefited from your content over the years and just powerful people that know what they're doing, know where they're going, and know how to attain those goals. And it's not just knowing, but seeing people actually implement and taking the risk and then getting it done. And that's big. I mean, your goals being so big and be like, okay, I'm not going to fail. Let's go get it done. Right. Get your team together. I mean, that's powerful.
Yeah. You got to move people, man. I mean, what I try to do is if someone's out there like, okay, I know I've got more, like I know I can make more. I know I can make 6 figures, or if they make it 6, great, dude, they can make 7, right? Like I'm coaching agents, a lot of agency owners now that are making 6 figures and they don't know how to get to 7 because they're doing everything. Well, you can't get to 7 figures if you're doing everything. And you definitely can't even get close to 8 figures if you're doing anything. Like you just can't. So what I'm noticing is when I get around big time people doing some big time stuff, someone I can learn from, someone that motivates me, it activates something inside of me to go freaking get it, right? Like it's like you getting around some other big time people, me getting around, like I'm going to 10X Grant Cardone's conference this weekend, right? Like I paid 10 grand to go. Why? Because I know I'm going to learn something from the conference they're throwing that I can go back and use at 8%. I'm going to get around and meet and network some big time people that I can maybe do some business with in the future. And I'm going to leave there with tons of ideas and more motivation than I've probably ever had. And so that's why I even paid 25 grand last year to stay for his 50K mastermind after the conference last year. Why? Because I know he knows stuff that I don't, and I'm willing to pay for it. And so the question to a lot of people is, dude, are they willing to pay to know what they don't? And the answer for a lot of people is no. It's no.
And that's solid. I mean, that's great advice. I mean, I've seen this in my industry as well with telemastery seminars that I do across the nation. And you're going to pay the price either way, right? It's like either pay the price and have success, the best at least chance of it, or pay the price of failure by not learning. Like the most painful, most expensive journey is to do this thing on your own, to do the journey, right, on your own. Like somebody come up and be like, I'm going to be Cody Askins right now. It's like good stinking luck. Have a great day. And it's like, unless you scale up and skill up and know good people and know what you know up in there to do certain things, there's not even a chance in heck. I mean, I might as well go find a unicorn on freaking Mars right now. Pardon my mouth. It's the truth. There's no way they're going to get what you've got by doing it solo. It's like, that's impressive. I mean, you got to get into a place where you are, paying to learn sometimes, which is painful, right? It is. Is it fun when you wrote your first check and went on your big old conference? That was probably a risk.
Yeah, it was $500,000, and I brought in 300 grand, and I lost $200,000, just like that.
Ouch! Right?
Crazy.
But did you learn so much from that? I mean, you probably learned way more than what that temporary dip was.
That's right. Yes. I mean, a lot of times what people need to see is that they feel like, oh, I lost money on that lead order. I lost money on this, or I invested in some random coach in my city and he didn't change my life forever. Right. Well, what I'm learning is it's on the learner. Like someone listening, when I pay for something, I like what I've heard from Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Les Brown, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, like all these people. The one thing they preach consistently amongst all of them is to accept responsibility. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. If it doesn't happen, something goes wrong, it's my fault, right? Like if I buy leads and I don't get a return, I don't go blame the vendor, I blame me, right? Like if I go hire a coach and pay 25 grand, if I paid 25 grand for multiple coaches in the past, if I do that and I don't see an immediate return, it's my fault. Because I believe everyone, like most of us know, like if me, Jason, and like 20 other people in the industry all paid like 50 grand to get into a room. We paid $1 million to all sit around this round table, right? Maybe it was 18 others that are watching this right now. We all paid to sit at this table with 20 of us, $1 million to sit at this table. And we were sitting there. What do we go into that prepared? Because what I've learned is typically Jason knows what he wants to get out of that table before he even shows up. Like we know where we need to improve. We know where we're struggling. We know how we can take this thing to another level. Typically, we know the answer. Sometimes someone just has to get the answer out of us, right? But I believe it's up to the learner to extract the data and the information. Because when I want to pay for something and learn something, I make darn sure that I learn it. Or I keep showing up and asking.
And that's awesome. I mean, I love that. As if we condense that, hope the viewers have pen and paper and are writing this down. If you're writing this down, just think about BO. Okay. Remember BO, not the smelly stuff. Either you blame your problems on someone else, or the O is ownership of what Cody's dropping on you right now. You either own it, okay, own your success hard, okay, or you blame and you own that. And the blame is the stinky part of BO. Okay.
That's good. That's good.
You have to. It's like a lot of people will blame everybody for their mediocrity, for everything. And it's like, my goodness, it's like you and I could both train a lot of folks to do a lot of great things, but we can't train. One thing I cannot, I don't know, maybe you can train this. I can't. Okay. It's like teaching a pig to sing. Like train hustle. I can't train hustle. I can't do it. I can motivate it and instill it. But have you been able to train the hustle muscle for anybody that doesn't want it or says they want it but won't take the courage and the courageous steps necessary?
Well, either someone's got it or they don't. They just do, right? And also, if someone's out there struggling, this is not going to be a popular opinion, by the way. So you may play this. This is going to get people's attention.
I love it, but drop it.
They're struggling. If they're spending money, they're not getting a return. If they're failing, if it's not going very well, it's 100% their fault. Now, nobody wants to hear that, but I'm telling you, I'm saying it because I care about your listeners, because if they will actually listen and apply what I'm saying, everything will start to change because they're not placing blame, they're taking ownership. And
that's huge. I mean, that's huge. Nobody likes hearing it, right? But nobody likes hearing it that, oh, you've got a heart that's about ready to pop. You either exercise or you die, right? Nobody likes hearing it, but sometimes you have to speak truth. It's like, I've always been on people's ears. So
since you brought up exercise, man, I mean, dude, there are a multitude of business benefits to working out. Now, most people will never do it. I don't like I used to say on my earlier videos, but I wish I'd go find them all and just flip and delete them. I don't like to work. Right. I used to say all this stupid stuff, man. And now I look back 5 years later when I've been YouTubing and I'm like, what was wrong with that kid? You know? Well, one of the things is, dude, if someone doesn't work out, they will not get as far in their business. They won't, because the most successful people I know, they work out. They have trainers. They push themselves. And there's a psychological confidence benefit, et cetera, to doing that. Most people won't do it, but I'm telling you, everybody says, like, if we were to ask the whole industry, we're going to survey them all right now. We'll say, okay, who wants to be wealthy? Who wants to be successful?
Right. And everyone's like,
who wants to help a lot of people? Okay. And then we were to say, who will do whatever it takes? Oh, me. And then Jason said, okay, I need you to make $100 a day for the next 30 days. 98% of that room wouldn't do it. But everybody wants to be wealthy. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to make a lot of money. They'll do whatever it takes, just not that, right? Just not that or that or It's ridiculous. Like it's up to the reason people, most of the, I mean, there's only 4% of companies in the US that earn 7 figures a year. The reason why that's the case, because anyone can make 7 figures, by the way, right? Like anyone I know can earn, their business can earn 7 figures, no question about it. The reason why they don't is because they've never figured out how to earn $83,000 a month, or they're doing it all. Anyone can do it, but few do it. But those that do it think it's easy and they think everyone can do it. Like what is the mental shift there? It's because they believe, most of them believed that it would happen before it did. They all believed it would happen before it did. That was the main difference. They knew they would earn it. The other 96% didn't believe they would.
That's gold. I mean, you got to like exercise, everybody. If you're taking notes, exercise. Okay. But then the 2 P's that he's dropping on you, right? You got to embrace the pain, right? And then you got to be profitable, and you're going to be profitable by embracing the pain, doing the uncomfortable things that Cody's talking to you about right now. Be courageous in what you do, your actual implementation, your action. Because I'm guessing you didn't get your sales as an insurance agent by just like osmosis, right? Like any agent that partners with me, my goodness, we work like on a different level. We have a great time, but it's not the easiest work, but it's amazing work. It's so gratifying. Like it's when you close a good sale and you help meet a need and take care of great people. It's just, my goodness, it's phenomenal. It really is. It changes the way that you handle things.
For sure.
In my opinion.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest reasons I agreed to do this interview with you is I've been watching your stuff. I knew who you were, and I can tell that you're a hustler, and you will hustle and do whatever it takes within reason, within, ethical boundaries, integrity, etc. I can tell, just like me, I can tell that you will freaking go for it. And I respect what you're doing out there to help the whole industry. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I agreed to do this.
No, thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. And I appreciate what you're doing for the industry. I mean, even when I was a face-to-face agent watching some of your stuff, it's solid. I mean, a lot of people don't want to give back to an industry that's given, me personally, everything. Really has. I mean, solid mentorship, but the industry has given me a ton. It's given me a ton I'm ever thankful for. I mean, I think you've got probably, hopefully all your mentors are still alive. I've had a mentor in my life. My goodness, passed away. Love that man. I owe a ton of my success to him, like actually giving me the time of day, right? Because there's certain mentors out there that are like, sorry, man, I don't got time for you. You've probably experienced some of that. Hopefully not as a mentor, but would you have a mentor now? I'm guessing for the audience, I'm guessing the answer is a yes, but I want to ask because I assume nothing in sales, right? So do you have one mentor that's like your own like secret squirrel go-to, that you've got somebody that's like there to support you and there to help like ping ideas off of? Do you still have that person that's is as successful as you are in your space? Do you still have that person in your life, or a new person to help mentor you?
Yeah, from like a idea, mentorship, questions, run something by someone, it would actually be my father. I got a lot of mentors specifically, but he's someone that been in the industry a long time, crazy successful. He's forgot more about insurance than I'll ever know. I mean, he's a freak. But he's someone that will always shoot me straight. Like everybody's got their people in their corner that will just say whatever they want them to say, or they're like yes men and women. You need people in your corner that, yes, you need a lot of people that will say yes and that believe in you, but you need people that will be honest with you along the way too, right? And doesn't mean you have to take the opinion, because I'm stubborn. I don't mean I take the opinion, but I need an alternative opinion or a viewpoint. So I'll bounce ideas off of other, like him or someone else, right? A lot of people will bounce ideas off their team, their staff, their employees, and that's good to a certain extent. The problem is you get too many cooks in the kitchen. I start bouncing ideas off too many people, and I will it'll frustrate me, because I'll end up getting a bunch of other views other than what I think. At the end of the day, here we do what I want, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Which once again goes to BO. You own it. The good part about the BO, you own it. You make a decision, go with it. Like success or failure, that's fine. Next. you know, and that's powerful that you got a good father figure in your life that's just a beast in insurance. I mean, that's so valuable to have good parents. I mean, parents and grandparents, they instill things in us that don't always exist. It may be there, but they're going to just bring it out of us. And I love the fact that you're talking about, you know, you're getting mentored from someone that can speak truth and be transparent with you. You know, I heard an old term, I don't know who penned it, so have no clue, but I was told by a wise man, he's like, step on people's shoes, but leave the shine on. It's like, sometimes you just got to be direct, right? You got to transfer that unpalatable things, right? But leave the shine on. Like there's just, I don't know. Haven't you witnessed that, Cody, where you see people that want to just tear into somebody, they want to break you down, but refuse to build you up. And that's why, like, you know, your mentorship and some of the seminars that you do can really help a lot of folks, because I believe it does build people up. It doesn't just say, oh, do this. And, you know, you've probably experienced that. Would you say that has taken place in the industry?
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, a lot of people need, it's funny. A lot of people won't share their biggest secrets, or they think, well, I've got this one prospecting method that's working so well, I'm never going to tell anyone. I'm going to hold it in the corner and I'm not going to share it with Jason. You know, dude, Jason shares, he cares, he does whatever it takes. And you can tell when people are being real, when they're authentic, when there's someone that you want to spend time with, and you can tell when they're not. People can, you know. And so what I've tried to make sure that I do is that before I turn on the camera and shoot a video, because we shoot a lot of them, as you see, I'm like, okay, how can I help someone what I'm about to say? What do they need to hear? What do they need to know? We were visiting with the team earlier, and my team's like, dude, you need to do a topic. You need to do a video for all those that signed up for this weekend's virtual conference and didn't show up, or showed up for a lot of it but didn't listen to the best parts, which were Brian Tracy and Les Brown. That's the biggest reason people fail, man. Like this, the step one to success is showing up. And most people, that's the step they struggle with the most. Like you can't even get to the next steps if you struggle with showing up.
Absolutely. Showing up. I mean, that's a huge, that's like half the battle. I'd probably say over half the battle is people don't actually implement, right? They know the mission, they know the why, the how to do, they can follow good training all day long, you know, get high enough to hunt ducks with a dang rake and motivation. But if they fail to go home and actually do something, man, if you don't apply good knowledge, you don't follow people like the folks you're talking about, oh my goodness, they're missing the boat. I mean, they're going to get wet and cold. That's what's going to happen. They're going to get wet and cold. So not a great place to be. It's not a great place to be.
I like all your funny analogies. That's awesome.
My wife says I'm horrible at them. I still drop them. I'm still married happily, so she still deals with me.
Keep dropping it. I like it.
No, that's so great, Cody. I appreciate you, you know, spending time with us today and our viewer audience. And if they need to find you, you got CodyAskins.com, your 8% Nation. Anything else they should know?
Yeah, I mean, our YouTube channel. I love following people on Instagram and DMing them and sending videos back. And I share like 20, 30 behind the scenes stories every day on Instagram. And then we've got a whole social team that manages that. And then we've got I do a lot of individual coaching. We do a lot of events to help people that are making no money actually make some money, or making some money and actually make a lot of money, or make a lot of money to actually ridiculous money. And then from ridiculous money to stupid money. I don't know. I just made that up, but you get the idea.
Love it.
And then we've got a marketing company that manages, gosh, at least 1.4 million a month in marketing and advertising for companies, call centers, IMOs, et cetera. You know, you did some work with us for a long time, so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's important. I mean, you have to have good methods in front of you. If not, it's like you're trying to take down a tree with a freaking hatchet. It's not fun. You're dealing with a dull hatchet. Just go use a chainsaw. Go get skilled up. Go understand how to use a power tool. Understand how to do things more efficiently. It'll make you happier. Trust me. I mean, Cody, you and I, you know, back in the day, both doing face-to-face. Oof, right? There's no substitute for getting that, you know, behind out of the car, getting wet, getting cold, sitting on the COPD couches, couches, doing what we do. It's not sexy, snappy work, but it's phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure you're not going face to face now, right? For a long time. I don't either. It's rare. I call it a field trip. Telesales is amazing. I love telesales. It's my passion. It's my heart. But I mean, do you miss some of that just a little bit in you, from the old face-to-face days as an insurance agent before we leave?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that recently. I'm like, man, if I had to go back out in the field and like cold door knock or door knock some age leads or run a bunch of appointments, like how well would I do? And I'm like, well, I'm sales training now, so my sales ability is actually better now than it used to be. But I do think about that. I miss it every once in a while. I mean, yeah, I'm crazy busy, but it's cool. I do think about that every once in a while.
That's phenomenal. Well, Cody, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you. Have a great one, you guys. Thanks so much, Cody. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.